What's one piece of career advice you wish someone had given you when you were first starting out?
That was actually an interesting one for me because I got this advice fairly early in my career, but it didn't resonate until I had the right manager. Maybe I should say the wrong one. The advice was simple. Feedback is a gift. It's meant to help you grow. Early in career, I was so focused on being perfect and wanting to do everything right. I felt like feedback was an attack, implying I had not worked hard enough, that I had failed in some way. Then I had a manager that's only feedback ever was, "You're exactly where you should be for this point in your career." And suddenly my mentor's advice made sense.
Yeah.
Really get constructive feedback that showed you how to get better. That person had to invest the time and actually care enough about you and your development to deliver it. It kind of changed my perspective on feedback and made me appreciate it. I think it's one of those, you don't appreciate what you have until you don't have it.
Can you also share a pivotal moment in your career journey that made a significant impact?
Absolutely. So, as you might imagine, I've had a couple of pivotal moments in my career, from learning to manage to shifting industries, but I think the one that I always come back to is how I actually joined data engineering, and also how I moved to Connecticut, honestly. I started out as a math major. I graduated and I had no idea what to do with it. I worked as an operations analyst for a few years, and I learned how the business uses data, thinks of data, and what was important for them. I also grew increasingly frustrated with lack of access to good data, and I got tired of having to string together reports and figure out how to make something work. Eventually, I had a boss that recognized what I was actually looking for and introduced me to a mentor. She was a data engineer. She talked to me about the role, explained what it was, taught me what I would need to know to be successful in it, and encouraged me to start teaching myself some of those skills. Eventually, she became a manager and invited me to apply for the opening on her team. That's how I moved to Connecticut from Texas, alone, having never really been to the Northeast. It's the best decision I've ever made, and I'm eternally grateful for that opportunity, honestly.
How do you approach challenges and setbacks in your professional life, and what's your go-to strategy for overcoming them?
Sure. I think that is very situational. But in general, my philosophy is failing forward. Growth can and really should be uncomfortable. And if you're challenging yourself, it's never going to go perfectly. Having that mindset early helps. Resilience is key, so is over-communicating when it's necessary, and being able to pivot when new information comes in. But I really think what's more important is what happens after the project is done. I like to do something I call self-retrospective. It's where I eliminate all of the environmental factors. Anything and any reason why something is not my fault, and instead focus on what could I have done differently? How could I communicate more effectively, plan a timeline better, whatever it happens to be, anything that I feel like should have been improved on. Because ultimately, by reflecting like that, that is how you grow.